We're here.
We're going to go live in 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome to the Alter Egos podcast, show about productivity and booze activity. Today, we got the one and only Wilson. What's going on, big guy?
Yo, it's cooking.
What's cooking?
Out here, ready for the podcast.
Ready for the big show.
Yeah.
So let's get a little excited. Let's get a little amped.
Yeah, that's right. So I got
you brought a little
perfect thing for that. So I brought this all the way from Cambodia. Now this is a little product called Extra Joss. You can only buy it in 4 countries: Cambodia, Indonesia, New Guinea, and somewhere else. Brought a few packets back with me from there to the U.S. and figure it's the perfect way to start off doing anything. Think of it as like dehydrated Red Bull. And all you have to do, add the vodka.
Is this shit legal? Let me see that.
It's not illegal.
They just don't sell it here?
Yeah, you just can't find
Korean
it.
ginseng, new formula, Extra Joss. Energy drink powder, and we're drinking it with fucking...
Yeah, you just mix it. So this is the real Cambodian way to do it.
Where did you learn of this? In Cambodia?
In Cambodia, yeah.
Tell me that story. How did that...
Yeah, so...
Was it just some dude like, hey, you got to try this powder, man? And he's just like, what do I do?
What do I do with this? No, so they sell it at the bars, actually. It's like you just go to the bars and you're like, yo, can I get an Extra Joss shot? And then you can go into any...
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they'll just line one up for you. Usually it's just a single shot of vodka with a whole packet of Extra Joss. They'll line it up, but you can buy it in bulk in just like any other store.
That looks nuclear, bro. That looks nuclear.
But it gets the people going.
Oh, man.
Absolutely true.
Well, cheers, big guy.
Cheers
It smells great.
Good way to start off.
Oh, my God.
Straight out of Cambodia.
What is that taste, dude? It's good. It's just like...
It's like a lot of sugar. It's like Red Bull. It's almost like it's like dehydrated
it's like
Red Bull.
Sweet, like pineapple, fucking... Oh, I still have some more left in me, so we'll do... Fill us up like halfway.
Do an extra half shot.
Yeah.
Half shot of the Josh shots.
And bust out them claws, boy.
Dude.
Bust out them claws.
Claw time.
So these are Cambodian claws?
These are not Cambodian claws. These are imported all the way from...
What flavors you got over there?
I got a little bit of... Got the natural lime.
I like limon. I'm Mexican.
You're a lime guy.
Anything limon.
You got it. A little more partial to the berry.
That's good, bro. That's good.
Yeah, it's a great way.
It's so strong. It's savory.
It is, and it's a good way to start a night out because like it just fucking gets you amped.
Fucking A, dude. I'm going to go over to my girlfriend's house just like...
Buzzing.
I said half a shot, my man. Half a shot.
Here, I'll give you that half
Jeez Louise. No, I mean, if you're going to do a full shot, I'll do a full shot.
That's like 3/4.
Yeah.
A little heavy-handed.
Fucking A. Well, we don't have to take it right now, but we'll save it.
Leave it on the side.
We'll save it for the side. Extra Joss.
Straight out of Cambodia, man.
It's good shit.
Happy you could partake with me.
Maybe one day they'll sponsor me.
Yeah, right? The Alter Egos podcast brought to you by Extra Joss.
I'm super glad to have you on, man. I'm glad you hit me up.
Yeah.
I know you're quite the outdoorsman. I don't know if I would say outdoorsman because, I mean, but you've been doing some cool shit, man, these last couple of years.
Yeah.
Ever since you graduated. I mean, just so I know a little bit, but like walk us through. So like you graduated and then would you take like a little year off or did you go straight out into like...
No, so I kind of was looking for jobs around the state. So I graduated, and then the next kind of semester, I moved to Orlando. I started working in Orlando at like a resort.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I had to get an internship there, and I didn't really like Orlando. Didn't really like the resort, so I decided to kind of see what else is out there. Yeah, too humid. Like the clientele wasn't feeling it. So then I ended up finding a job that was based out in Denver, and it's like teen adventure trips. So we did like camping, surfing, and hiking on the California coast. And that was super sick.
Based off of Denver? You guys would drive or what?
So the company's based in Denver, but then they do trips all over the place. And the trip that I got assigned was in California. So we did a little road trip there. I had 2 groups, just like hung out in like the San Francisco area for the summer. Finished that up. And then I actually moved back to Pennsylvania with my family to kind of like gather myself and figure out, all right, what's the next move? And that's when I decided that I was going to make the leap and go abroad. And I applied for jobs in Australia. I found one, got the job, got my visa, got my ticket, and then just headed down under.
So what were you doing there?
I was working in what's called outdoor education, and that's basically teaching kids how to be outside. So we do like different.
Were you not freaked the fuck out like going to Australia when like all those like deadly animals?
Oh
and
my
shit?
God, dude. Side note, so the most venomous snake in the world is it's just a brown snake. That's what the Australians call it. Just a brown snake. Yeah. And I was leading like one of my first groups and I ended up stepping over top of a brown snake.
Like over it, or you stepped on it?
Over top of it. So we were on a trail and I was just talking to somebody next to me and the snake was just laying in the trail. I wasn't paying attention. Like there were sticks and leaves and stuff. Like it blends in really well. And I take a step over it and I had no idea. And it pops its head up. And it's like, it's on alert. And then I take my other foot and bring it over and continue walking. Like, I never break stride. I had no idea it was
didn't
here.
Even see it.
Yeah, but the kids behind me, they were like, oh my God, Wilson, you like just stepped over a brown snake. And I was looking, I was like, oh wow, that's crazy, guys. Like, thanks for letting me know. Like, let's get back to camp.
You just stepped over a brown snake.
Yeah, like the most venomous snake, the most deadly snake in the world. And once I drop the kids off, then I like have a moment by myself and catch my breath. I was like,
if that thing fucking bites you, are you just gone?
Almost, yeah. I have like an hour to get to the hospital, and we're about an hour away from the nearest hospital.
Wow.
So, yeah, we were like out in the bush. So it was like
fucking rough.
It could have been a really stressful moment.
Damn. That's insane. That's insane. Did you encounter any other fucking crazy animals out there? Like, I've always found it cool that they're like so close to the wildlife, but it's also so dangerous, which is like kind of. I think that's great in the way that like it teaches them respect. I feel like I feel like most people in Australia like have respect for the wildlife, and maybe that's just like a stereotype. Yeah, but I think it's a pretty positive stereotype. Like you never hear of like Australian coal is ruining the world. Like
no,
it's usually
not their problem,
it's usually, you know, you think of Australia, you think of like, you know, the Outback. Yeah, a lot of like
good-natured people,
the crocodile hunter, of course, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Like
one up,
just like very positive, like nature things. Yeah. Did you encounter that? Did you ever feel like that was the case there?
Yeah.
I mean, since you were in that
environment, a lot of the coworkers that I had from Australia, that's kind of like their passion is the outdoors. So they were really into that. And you really are just so close to a lot of animals. Like I was like 5 minutes outside the airport. I saw, the kookaburras. Those are so loud. The cockatoos suck. Like they're so loud. There's so many wild animals. Like. And some of the most deadly as well, like 7 out of 10 most deadly snakes are in Australia. Like so many massive deadly spiders, like sharks on the coast, jellyfish, octopus. Like it's just wild how many animals that seem like they're always out to get you. But you bring that up with an Australian, like, dude, you live in like the most deadly country in the world. They're like, nah, mate, like it's fine. Like don't worry about it.
We just don't leave the city.
Yeah, we just don't worry about it. And like I think being like surrounded by all that and just kind of having that knowledge that you live with like.
You know what I wonder, man?
Shit, like maybe people just don't worry about stuff as much.
I wonder, like to that point of like taking care of nature. I feel like there's a stereotype in the United States of like a lot of like when I speak to my family members or whatever, there's like a big stereotype of that like redneck American. Yeah. Big hunter, camo, super Republican, fat, drinks beers, whatever. And hunting is a very large part of the United States culture, especially over more south and east. But there's still a lot of hunters, you know, in great areas like Idaho, Montana, Colorado, whatever. Right. And we just live in such a great, varied country where, you know, going to kill a deer is like a very normal thing where you could kill them in, you know, anywhere. Yeah. But I wonder if in other countries like, you know, Japan, if there's like hunters,
that kind of culture, that kind of mindset,
like a hunter culture, whether it's in Japan or like in Australia too, because like Australia has a bunch of stuff. They do, but like I wonder how many are just like weekend hunters who go out there, because there's not a lot of. Is there deer out there?
There are, and they're like crazy looking. Like they've got like really tall antlers, and they're just like stacked. Like every animal out there is just stacked.
Did you ever encounter any like hunters, like weekend hunters, or is it just like people coming in from out of state, like, or from out of the country coming in? No. Like, I wonder if they have that.
Like that kind of hunting mentality. I mean.
Or just like, that breed.
I think like a lot of farmers would, because they're out in like more rural areas and they're able to like access that. Like a lot of like eucalyptus forests and things like that. You'll find a lot of animals.
Is that more for necessity though? Or is it like for sport? Because I feel like here we do it just for sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you eat what you do, but it's for sport.
I would say that it's more of an American idea to hunt for sport, and not so much necessity.
I feel like it's almost a British idea that was brought over.
Yeah.
Because the British did a lot of hunting in Africa and stuff. You have that that stereope of like the British hunter with his mustache and he's out in Africa.
He's on the ride.
Yes. We ride.
Well, they used to do that in Australia. They'd have like the British come over and they'd like release rabbits and foxes and stuff for them to go and hunt. So that was kind of like a British idea. I don't know. I feel like it isn't as much of a like cultural staple there as it is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever go down to like New Zealand?
I stopped in New Zealand for like 3 days, but
just like as a layover.
Yeah, I had a friend that lived in Auckland, and I was coming back to Phoenix actually for a little family reunion. So I was flying out of Australia, just did like a 3-day layover in New Zealand, and then flew out to get to Phoenix. But I didn't leave the city center of Auckland. Like I didn't get out and see the beautiful
countryside. Is that like a large city? I'm not too familiar with.
Yeah, Auckland.
Like if you can compare it to like the United States,
I would say it's similar to Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like by the ocean.
It's by the ocean. It's got a city center, but it's really easy to get out into the neighborhoods outside of it.
I hate to interrupt you, but this shit is hitting me, bro.
Yeah. You notice, you feel it, right?
Let's cancel this and go out to a club.
Yeah, right now. 2 p.m. clubbing. Yeah. So, Auckland's a pretty decent sized city. It's pretty easy to get around. Have you ever seen like the skyline of it? It's got something called the Sky Tower. It looks similar to like the Space Needle in Seattle. It's like kind of like it's got a rotating top. It's got a viewpoint. It's got like this giant needle that kind of comes up at the top of that. And while I was there, the person I was staying with, they were like half joking. They're like, Wilson, you should jump off the Sky Tower in Auckland. They said Beyonce had done it. So I was like, well.
Is it like, what's it called? Like skydive off of it?
It's
bungee jump?
It's not a bungee. So basically you've got this like full body harness and it's like connected to these 2 guide wires and you've got it on and your feet are like hanging over the edge of this platform and below you is just the city street and they tighten it and it like starts to like
I'm assuming you
pull
did
you
it.
out. I did do this.
Okay,
I did do this. So it like pulls you out and you're like hanging basically
just Jesucristo, like just fucking
just like there, and there's these 2 these like guide wires on the side. They're attached to like these brakes, basically. So you free fall for a few seconds, but then you get to a certain point and they clamp down and they start to slow you down like a car tire
bungee kind of.
Yeah, so you don't bounce or anything. You just like slowly, gradually, just slow down and you just land on your feet.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was.
You land on your feet
and at the bottom.
Of the tower?
Yes.
So you go from the top of the tower all the way
so
to the
you're
bottom?
you're literally just hanging off the side of it, and then they cranked it, and so they just say like 3, 2, 1, let go, and you let go, and then it's just a free fall.
What is this called?
It's in Auckland, New Zealand. It's the Sky Tower.
Auckland, New Zealand.
I think
Sky Tower?
I got a video of it on my Instagram. Yeah, at Sir Wilson Moore. Auckland,
New Zealand. Fucking shameless plug, dude. Shameless.
Just throwing it in there.
Auckland, New Zealand Sky Tower. Dude, like that's nuts. Oh, I see it. That's insane. That's crazy. Cause like, I've always kind of wanted to do like bungee jumping and stuff, but like, I've always wanted to do it somewhere like crazy. Like, New Zealand or like a big bridge or something.
I think my top, if I would ever be to skydive, would be in Dubai.
Okay. So this chick is just like so you just walk along this platform?
So that video there, that's like you get to walk along the outside of it and you get to like kind of hang and see
is this
the
not
skyline
what
of
you
it.
did?
So here's the video that I had taken.
This is you?
Yeah. So that's me coming down.
Oh my God.
And so it's like a free fall for just about like 2 to 3 seconds. And the first second that you start falling.
That's so crazy, dude. That's so crazy.
It was wild. And the first second you do it, your mind is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop. Like, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. But then you get to a point where you're like, oh, like everything's fine. Like, this is really cool. Like, the streets kind of like rushing up. The buildings are getting shorter. Like, it's a really interesting kind of perspective. And then it's done. It's like you get 1 second.
That's a second.
Yeah, you get like 1 second of just like pure fear, and then 1 second of like, oh, this is sick, and then it's pretty much over.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's crazy, dude. That's sick.
So that was my time in Auckland. That was like how I spent 3 of my days
That's
in Auckland.
fun, man.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty
dope.
cool. It was time well spent.
So then the other thing I want to ask you is so after the trip you did, I know you rented like a Subi or like
When I was
a
in
Volkswagen in Australia.
In Australia, so I had bought a car. The car is the brand of car is a Holden. So
Okay.
it's just like an Australian brand, like we have like Toyota or Ram, like they have Holden. And so I bought an Australian car while I was in Australia, and everything's flipped. So like driving on the side of the road is opposite, driving on the side of the vehicle is opposite. So it was like a little bit of a learning curve there. But once I kind of got that down, got comfortable with driving on the Australian roads, I ended
Did you
up.
drive on the other side of the road, right?
Yeah, it's all flipped. It's all opposite.
Was it trippy the first time? Like
Yeah. So think
did you
about-
ever thought you were gonna crash? Because it's like on a left turn, you like go.
This is exactly what I
And
was
then-
going to say. Yeah, so on a left turn, normally you and I, we take it a little bit wider. We go out into the further lane. And I'd done that a few times just out of like habit. But where I was living was pretty rural. Like there's not a whole lot of traffic. So it was like, okay. So I
It was
there.
chill.
It was pretty chill.
You
And
know,
then
I fucking drove against the
went against the
traffic,
current.
but
Like it's all fine. So I did that, and I had Australians in my car. They're like,
Fucking radical.
yeah,
dude.
they're like, Wilson, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? Oh yeah, that's right. And so you had to get back on the other side.
Were people in the car with you? freaking
Yeah,
out?
yeah, they're Australians. They were just like, Wilson, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
I wish I could do an Australian accent. Just, okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
Wilson, what the fuck?
Oh wow, what the fuck, mate? Sometimes when I drink a lot and I'm hanging out with other Australians, like it really starts to come out.
Really?
Like yeah, but we'll see what happens. We'll just see how the alter ego goes.
At the end,
Yeah.
Australian Wilson.
Yeah.
But so you rented a Holden, and then where did you go?
Yeah,
So what city were you in?
I started in a city called Melbourne, which is in the south, Victoria. Yeah, it's one of the biggest cities they have there. And so I drove from Melbourne all the way up the coast to a place called Cairns. Then that's where the Great Barrier Reef is. And
Used to be.
Yeah, what's left of it. And so you get up there
You
and then
fucking
assholes. People these days. And then I drove through the Outback. Saw. Have you heard of Ayers Rock or Uluru? It's like this big,
it's the big red rock.
big red rock. Yeah,
Of course, man.
Absolutely
I know my
massive.
Australian
There you
history.
go. Got the geography.
You know what I'm
down.
talking about, mate.
Yeah, mate. So
I used to play.
did that.
I used to play fucking Magic School Bus on the computer in my old like brown computer, and there was one where it was like world monuments.
Geography, yeah,
Isn't
okay.
it like a wonder of the world? I don't know if it's a wonder of the world,
It's
but it's a
World
monument.
Heritage Site.
Yeah, and like you had to go to Uluru.
Uluru, yeah.
Had to help some. It might have not been Magic School, but I don't know. I didn't.
It was
fucking
something
play
like
it. I
Carmen
know.
San Diego, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. It was probably one of those. It was like fucking.
Same
and
vein.
you go to the Rock and you help out some, whatever. It
Yeah.
might have been that little whatever. That car.
So I drove out to that and then down to the south coast and back over. So all in all, that was 5,000 miles worth of driving. That took me 36 days, and I was the only one in the car.
So when you say 36 days,
the entire time.
Is that like you're driving for 36 days, or it's like you're going for a day and then hanging out in a city for like 3 and then you go?
So
you're taking your time, like you're not in a rush.
Yeah, so the trip in total took 36 days. It wasn't like 36 days of me driving 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. It was like, oh, I want to go and see this. And
So
like,
did
I'll
you
go here, and
have
then
a
I'll-
pre-plan of what you wanted to see, or was it just like, dude, that looks kind of dope, I'm gonna stop and fucking see that?
Some
Like,
of
just
it,
hang
it was
out
kind of,
and-
it was kind of a mix of both because of just like the time that I had there. I was like, oh, I know I want to see this city and this site. Let me see what else is around. And sometimes I'd go and make detours. And since I was the only one, like I could call all the shots. I didn't have to like be like, hey, do you want to stay here? Do you mind doing this? Or like,
You do whatever the fuck you want.
exactly.
So-
I was like,
what would you say is like the highlight of that trip?
dog, I went to Steve Irwin Zoo, the Australia Zoo. The house that Steve Irwin built, and I thought
Where
it was
he used
so
to work or
yeah,
whatever?
exactly. And it has all of his old like crocodile research on there. And there's one thing I learned out of all of Australia is that I don't fuck with crocodiles.
I mean, who does?
Yeah, that's just
You
like,
were
that's
living in
just like a
Orlando
no-go.
and then Australia. What the fuck
Yeah.
are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm all right with those reptiles, but I thought the Australia Zoo was just really cool, just to see like Steve Irwin's work and how like some of the crazy shit he'd do. Like he'd see a croc like just laying in the mud. He's like, all right, I'm gonna fuck with it.
Yeah.
And he just jumps on its back
Dude,
and like doesn't care.
I don't want to get too emotional, but like that dude was such a fucking legend.
Yeah.
Like I saw a video just like randomly. I was on Reddit like fucking 6 months ago. And like somebody, it was like his birthday or just, I don't know, his son had done something cool and they just like brought up the video and like, it was such an emotional video because it was just like his family talking about, it was his son and his daughter as adults. Yeah. Like doing press tours because they've been on like Jimmy Fallon, they've been like whatever, and talking about their dad. Yeah. And they were flashbacking to like videos of their dad
when they were small, and he was like showing them what's up.
And it was just like, that dude was such a fucking happy guy.
Yeah.
And like,
he was super passionate.
There was a time in my life where I wanted to become a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Because I would watch him all the time. Like, I would just watch, because I don't know what your TV stations was like, but I had Dish Network.
Yeah.
And it went
Weird
like
flex,
this. It was Nickelodeon. You had the two Nickelodeons at the bottom. And then you had 3 Disneys.
Right.
You had Toon Network.
Yep.
And then there was
Animal Planet History.
There was another Toon Network. It was like what's the fucking one? It's like retro. It's like
Boomerang.
Boomerang. There's Boomerang, and then there was Animal Planet.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, that was my fucking whole shit.
Yeah, that was your lineup right there.
I'm not going down to CBS as a 5-year-old, you know? Maybe on Saturday I'd watch Liberty's Kids or fucking...
Yeah, there's Saturday cartoons,
you know? I'd watch some of that fucking In Between the Lines or whatever. Yeah. Like, I'd watch some of that shit. Some Boomafoo. But, like, besides that, that was my fucking area. Like, that's where I fucking stayed. And I would watch that shit all the time, and, like... I got, and I got one of those fucking, like magazine, fucking Dr. Rick, animal magazine subscriptions that I fucking bothered my parents to get. And I thought over time, and he was like a huge part of that. And like, it always kind of like taught me to respect animals. Like, it was just like, out of any TV personality as a kid, like fuck the Wiggles or whatever. Like, it was all just like the only person who made like a direct impact in my life, and the way like I live my life, and the way I like talk like to this talk to people, the way I respect animals and like nature and stuff, was Steve Irwin. Yeah, for some reason. Like, I don't know if he just got that perfect of we were so young when he was so popular, but like. Yeah, he like always fucking stuck with me, dude. Yeah. And like that dude had such a huge impact. Like whether we think about it or not, like he had such a huge impact on our generation of like absolutely how we feel about
like, and how we want to like.
He was a huge voice for conservation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I also have a lot of respect for Steve Irwin. And it was cool to see like
what
he had started. He had bought that zoo from his parents, and it was just like a crocodile farm, and then he like really expanded it. He like fell into crocodile research and like did so much, and it was really cool to see that. Really cool.
Do people generally like revere him as much?
Yeah.
Is he like a national treasure?
Yeah, kind of, because people would like kids.
He's a fucking national treasure. I can't do it. I don't even want to. Fucking legend, mate. You got me hopped up on this extra joss.
I got you on these Cambodian drugs. Trying to speak in an Australian accent.
Bringing Cambodian out here in Phoenix. Here, like, Jesus Christ, man. Well, speaking of Cambodia, so I know you did that, and Australia was cool. So what? So you did Australia first, and then you went up to the South Asia,
Southeast Asia. Yeah. So, as I was,
you're gonna have to fight Sam over your love for Southeast Asia.
Oh, dude, I
South
feel like
Pacific, dude.
I don't know, man.
You gotta fight him. You gotta fight Kyle. You got Kalegi and Kelby are still out
with those guys. I met up with those guys while I was in Bangkok,
dude. Oh my god,
it was really exciting. So yeah, after I was finished up in Australia, I had found a job as a rock climbing and sea kayaking instructor in Vietnam. It was in like the north, around this place called Ha Long Bay, and you might have seen photos of it, but it's like these towering rock structures that just come out of like emerald green water.
Oh yeah, that's like the typical like
the kind of like stereotypical of like, go to Vietnam, this is the picture that you see kind of thing. So that's where I was doing my job. And it was awesome. I lived there for 5 months, just like guiding people around that kind of environment. So it was really exciting for me to like kind of get a feel for that and see what it was like. And just live there and live in Vietnam for 5 months. Yeah. It was really interesting. So after I was finished with that, I did 3.5 months of traveling around Southeast Asia. I studied parks and recreation management.
Okay. Cause I'm one, it's like, all right, as an engineer, I'm just like, it kind of fucking bums me out when I'm just like, all right, I'm like a quality manufacturing, like engineer. Like, am I just gonna fucking go to Vietnam and like work? Like
they are.
Because you're like, oh, I was working.
Engineers.
You're like, I was working in Vietnam, and I'm like, what were you doing? You're like, well, I was basically like fucking canoeing in like the most beautiful like oceans and rivers in like the world, like just like basically like canoeing and paddleboarding with like rich people every day, and I was getting paid for it. And then I'm just like, okay, I want to do that. And then I go over there and I'm just stuck in a fucking sweatshop manufacturing like, you know, kids' toys that they sell at the 99-cent store. So I guess you beat me on that one, dude. Like, you definitely got the fucking gig.
So for now at least. You know? We'll see. There's always more. There's always more to come.
But that's dude, that's awesome. Like,
I'm pretty satisfied with it.
Should just like learn how to scuba dive and just go teach scuba.
I'm not far off. That might be next.
No.
But it was always funny because like people would ask me.
Did you just decide you wanted to do this shit? Like, were you just in the middle of your road trip in fucking Australia and you're just like, fuck it, I want to go to Vietnam?
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's literally what
I was
happened.
like, yeah, let me just keep riding this.
Just
travel
got on the
train.
interwebs and
Google is a great tool. So like the way I look at it is like I think of where do I want to work? Like where would I like to call home for a little while? And then I try and find like a recreation-based job there so I can have an excuse to go. So, for instance, I was like, oh, I want to work in Asia. Asia was the big goal. And then I found this company within Vietnam. So that fit my requirements of like job type and location. So I sent in an application. They liked who I was. I got the job and went out.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah.
So how long were you teaching? So what were you doing exactly?
Yeah, so I was a sea kayaking and rock climbing instructor.
So you were sea kayaking.
Yeah, so I was leading like day sea kayaking tours as well as like half day rock climbing.
When you say
tours.
rock climbing, are you talking to actual rock faces? You guys had your own like
our own
and shit.
Yeah, so we had
is this very commercial, like very chill, like you take a family there, or is this more for like decently, like is this like
it actually,
you take athletic like
we have both. So there was like 6 different routes along where we climbed, and we like there were times when I had two like I think over the course that I was working there, like 3 different families come in from different places wanting to climb, and other people like I climb all the time, like what's good for me? Let's go on this route. This is a little bit more challenging, or like we got this intro route over here for you. So we kind of took just a wide variety of clients. And that was what I worked. I lived on like an island when I was in Vietnam.
So would you just like kayak to work or what?
No, I wish. It was a little bit bigger. It's like, think of like the big island of Hawaii.
Oh, so it was a fucking big island.
It was a pretty big island. Still surrounded by water, but still pretty big. Pretty big to function.
You had your, grocery store.
Yeah, I had a place to where to eat, where to work out, where to like
go and party. Did you live in a little apartment or?
The company owned a hotel, so we just like stayed in a hotel.
A fucking 5-star, 3-star hotel.
Yeah, for Vietnam it was 5 stars.
For Vietnam. So then what? You just like. You knew, did you just decide that, like, all right, this is the end, like, I'm done, like, I'm going to quit and do my thing?
I had set it up as a fixed-term contract, so I had arranged for it already to be
done after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, a certain amount of time.
So how long were you there, 5 months?
I was living in Vietnam for 5 months.
Gotcha.
So I was doing this job for 5 months. And so after that had kind of run its course, I was like, all right, now it's time to travel. I ended up going to...
So were you just working to save up money to travel?
Yeah. Save up money to travel and get the experience of living in Vietnam.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good on a resume.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in your line of work, you have a lot of experience in different types of
environments. Australia, Vietnam, and the U.S. are like my top 3 lines. Yeah. So it's not too bad.
You could do whatever with any park.
Yeah,
anything a park throws to you.
Yeah,
I'll fucking wrangle a brown snake.
Let me wrestle a buffalo.
Yeah,
I'll do it. So. We had did that, and then I just started traveling around Vietnam or Southeast Asia for a while.
So you got a little motorcycle?
I did, yeah. So I traveled several countries: Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, and then when I came back into Vietnam, I'd had that time to really think about how I wanted to see it, and I thought that a motorcycle was going to be one of the wildest ways to do it.
Is it fucking awesome?
Have you ever seen Top Gear, like the British version of Top Gear? Have you seen that special where they do the Vietnam motorcycle trip?
I might have. I've seen so many episodes.
Yeah, there's tons, but there's a special that they do, and when I saw that, I was like a kid, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool!" Like, wow.
Was it dope, dude? I have like just like a little. You got a little moped.
I had like a 127cc shifting engine.
But you could carry like nothing but your backpack, basically.
That's pretty much what I had. Yeah, it was like
you had nothing to your name.
The backpack that I had for school here is what I took with me.
Oh my god! What was your stuff? Like, did you have clothes?
Yeah, I just had like clothes, like just a cycle of clothes. Like
you just wear the same like five shirts all the time?
Pretty much. Like I'm a dirty motorcyclist.
Where would you fucking wash your clothes and shit?
A lot of hostels, you can just go up to the front desk and be like, "Wash service?" ? And then they'll be like, "Yes, it's this."
Did you have any trouble with like language barriers?
No, because I mean, sometimes you did. Overall, I would say no, but a lot of people got by really with body language. Like if I was in a store or something, I could point and be like, "How much?" or like use like different body language to be like, "Money, how much?"
Yeah.
And then they would like pull out a bill and say this. And so I would be able to make a deal like that.
They're just like, this amount, you just take it from them and give it back.
This.
There you go. What would you say then, like, because I feel like that's a very unique thing that a lot of people, a lot of the people that we know who go travel, they go to Singapore and they hit a couple bars, stay at a nice hotel.
Yeah.
You really did that really deep shit. I know there's a couple people that we know who are also doing like a teaching thing, who are out there. I don't even know what Kalegi's doing.
Dog, I actually stayed with Kalegi when I was in Bangkok. So I passed through Bangkok and I stayed with Kalegi for like 5 nights.
So you just find that out on Facebook
Kalegi.
or
Thanks
what?
for letting me stay with you.
You just like look like troll Facebook, like or how do you figure out these people are out there?
A lot of times I'll be like,
do lady boys contact each other and like when you're sleeping with them, they're just like, oh yeah, I know Shankalegi,
he's good. Yeah.
You look like this guy. Where are you from?
You look Shankalegi. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just like look up like on Facebook like friends in whatever city, like say Tempe, Arizona, and see like who's all living there, and be like, oh yeah, that's right. Like let me just kind of reach out and see what's up, what's good.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so that helps out.
So what would you say was the last thing, like the profound impact on your life, traveling and doing those travels on your own? Like what the man you started when you were on a plane from Pennsylvania to Australia to when you were on a plane back from wherever you ended up in Southeast Asia. Like, what would you, if you had to sum it up in like what that did to you as a human being, like what that taught you, what you learned about yourself, like what would you? Yeah,
I think that's a pretty profound question. Because it's hard to like quantify exactly everything that you could learn and like put it as a bullet point. You definitely realize how much you don't know. I think that's one of the biggest things. I realized how much I just didn't know. Because you can know everything about the area, and if you stay in one place and you learn everything about it, that's your world. You know everything about your world, and then you think you know everything. But as soon as you get outside of that and you go somewhere else where they don't do anything the same way, then you realize, like, maybe I don't know everything.
Well, that's the thing is fear, is getting out of your comfort zone. There are people who live in one. This is my city.
Yeah,
I'm the queen. I'm the king of this city.
I know everything,
and I know everything, and I know where to go, and I'll tell you where to go, and I'll tell you everything.
This is where I do this, and this is where I can get that, and this is how I do this.
And it just seems they want to seem all knowledgeable and all like perfect about this, but then when you step out of that, they don't know anything, and that scares them. But then they're not growing. They're not learning.
No, it's not. That's exactly it. You need that fear and that stress in order to reach growth.
Yeah.
If you're not being like stressed out or a little bit afraid about what you're doing, perhaps it's not big enough.
I've always said I want to go to my first day at work and go to lunch and sit in my car by myself and like literally like have a mental breakdown and be like, holy fuck, like what am I doing? Like I'm so scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to fuck up this job. Yeah. Holy shit. Like what have I gotten myself into? Because that's when you know that there is more to learn. That's when you know that there is something to be gained. If you walk into a job, I've always quit jobs. When I walk in the first day, I'm like, dude, fuck this. This is so easy. I feel like like if you feel confident the first day of work, like there's not much to gain.
Yeah.
But if you walk in and you're scared shitless, that means that there's a lot of room for growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I definitely see that, like, you bring up like the beginning of my journey when I flew out of Pennsylvania. I was going to Australia, and that first month I had like just like job training, and it was a month long of training of like everything outdoors you could do: mountain biking, ropes courses, just working with kids and how to deliver a program. And there was many moments in that month where I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I was not a very strong mountain biker, fell a lot. And I was just like, there were times where I was like, why am I doing this? Like, for what reason did I come all the way out here just to fall off of a bike? But then you realize, you start to figure it out more as you get back onto the bike. And you're like, okay, this is good. I got this. You feel more confident. You feel better with it. So it's not how many times you fall down. It's how many times you get back up.
It's true.
That's true.
Cheers to that. Let's take a little break. We'll come back. We saved these shots for next time to get amped up.
For the alter egos.
For the alter egos round. And then we'll figure out how many lady boys you did talk to when we were on that little trip. So I know you got some stories.
I'm going to find out.
Maybe. All right.
We'll be back.